Black Ops 1 Zombies is an amazing zombies game. I personally think it is second best behind BO3. Some others might even think it is the best. Now, this is not the point of the video. The point is to rank every single weapon. Now, we all know ammo is a big part of zombies, and in this game, you really don't got much of it. Even the wall weapons, where you can constantly buy ammo, you really just don't get much ammo in any of the weapons. So a lot of these weapons on this list are not very good. I did kind of struggle a little bit, like what weapons should I place here? And the way I compared these, what weapons are overall better than others? And that's how I'm ranking them. I'm looking at the PAP versions, and then I'm also considering ammo, damage, how useful are they, and all that stuff. And if some of these weapons are not in the right spots, if you like disagree, that's perfectly fine. That's your opinion. I try my best to rank these in a way that makes the most sense of overall how best they are. It's not an opinion video. This is just me trying to rank them based on how good they are and how good they compare to each other. And there is 30 weapons on this list, and I'm not including the Wonder weapons or the World at War remake weapons. I thank you guys so much for all the support on all my videos, and without further ado, let's move on to the actual list. Alright, the China Lake. I'm sure this is not a surprise to anybody because this is literally the worst weapon in this game. It could even be considered one of the worst weapons in all of zombies. This is a pump action grenade launcher. Who thought this was a good idea? You do not want to have a pump action grenade launcher. You want to be shooting as many explosions as you can, and you're going to be pumping it more and reloading it more than you're actually going to be shooting at the grenades, and it is terrible. And you can just look at this gameplay right here and see how terrible it is. It's not even killing any zombies. It's so bad. And next up is the Law. I thought this thing was honestly a lot better than I remember it being, but the gameplay speaks for itself. This thing is god awful. I only say it's better than the China Lake because you're able to shoot faster. I think it has more ammo. I might be wrong, but it's just better than the China Lake in every way, but barely in every way. It cannot even kill on the round. You can see I'm trying to shoot these crawlers and they will not die. It is so sad. Next, we have the ballistic knife. This is such a terrible weapon to have if you're on solo. Co-op's not that bad. I'm not including that because I have no friends to play with. The co-op version, shoot it and your teammate gets revived, but on the solo version, all you can really use it for is getting points on like round 1 through like 10 when it's pack-a-punch. I don't really know how long, but literally you can use anything else. Wall weapons will get you more points on the early rounds because they're weak, and the ballistic knife, you just will not be able to survive with this thing later rounds. It is so terrible. All right, now it's the FAL. This maybe shouldn't be this low, but honestly, you're never using this thing. Even when you get out of the box at early rounds, you're like, oh, I don't want to use this. It's so bad because you're going to be using wall weapons anyway. So when you get this thing, it is just such a disappointment. And even the packed version, I feel like is even worse because it becomes a burst. Obviously, I said I'm not talking about the non-pack versions, but when you pack this thing, it becomes a 3-round burst, and you just do not want burst weapons in zombies unless you're on like BO2 and up, because double tap is so much better. But when you're using the FAL, you're literally not killing any zombies. I know I'm on like round 26 or something, and it's not killing anything. It is so terrible. It has a lot of ammo, I'll give it that, but it's a burst, man. You can't use burst. You can't use burst weapons. It's just, no, you can't use. Now we have the Olympia. I know some people might get angry about this, but the Olympia is terrible in this game. It is so bad. Every other shotgun, I feel like, has a purpose, and the Olympia just is not good. Maybe in the early rounds, but you're wanting points. This thing will not get you points at all. It's terrible. I will say it is pretty cool how it has like the fire rounds. I think they're incendiary rounds. I think that's what those are actually called. It is cool how it sets the zombies on fire, but that's really all it has going for it. I mean, you can buy ammo, but you're not gonna make up the points at all. It's so bad. All right, now our first weapon that is kind of usable, the Spectre. When you get this out of the box, it is kind of exciting because it's a bad weapon and you can get points with it really easily. Now, maybe it shouldn't be this low, but since it's a box weapon and it has literally no ammo, you just get it, get points, put it back in the box. You're never really going to be packing this thing because there's so many more other weapons you can pack besides this, but I will say this thing is really useful for getting points, but that's about it. It will not kill zombies on late rounds at all. Now we have the PM63. This thing is always in just such a terrible spot because on most maps you'll run into the MPL or the MP5 where you actually run into this thing unless you're playing Keen. But this, if we're looking at the PAP version, it runs out of ammo so fast. It is dual wield. It is pretty cool, I guess, but it runs out of ammo so quickly. I don't even know if you could really make the points up with this thing because you'll be running out of ammo faster than you can really make up points. And when you shoot this thing when it's pack, your screen literally goes like straight down. It is so annoying to use this thing, and you're never going to be using it because you have every other choice. You have the M14, MPL, MP5, MP40, anything that apparently starts with an M, I guess, and then you just have the PM63. No one buys this unless you're trolling. All right, now it's the M14. This might be a little low if we're talking about the PAP version, but you're never really using this thing later on. You're going to use it early on for the points, but after that, you're using anything else. As I stated before, MP5, MPL, MP40, box weapons, anything else, you're using those. This has a use on the early runs. As I said, it actually is useful at some points in the game. When you pack it, it is kind of good, I guess, but it's just not useful at all. It has good ammo, I'll give it that, but that's all it really has going for it. It's a wall weapon too, but that's it. Now we have the L96A1. Some people hate this sniper, and it is kind of annoying. It has a lot of recoil, and sometimes you'll have your crosshair right on the zombie, and they won't die. They won't even get affected by the bullets at all. So I don't know if the crosshairs are a little off in this thing, or if it's just really wonky to use because the scope is just kind of weird. But when you pack this thing, it is actually a very strong sniper. I believe there's only 2 snipers in this game, this one and the Dragunov. You don't normally want bolt action like snipers in zombies because they're slower to use. You want like semi-auto snipers, I guess. I don't really know if they have a specific name, but this is only here because it's a strong sniper, but it's not useful. It has good ammo, but it's a box weapon, and that's it. If you disagree, I understand. This thing is not really that useful, but it's strong. Next, we have the last remaining shotguns in this game. I'm kind of ranking them all together because they all felt very, very similar when I was using all of them. Now, the first one I'm ranking is the Stakeout. The only reason this one is the second worst shotgun in this game is because every time you shoot, you have to like pump it back, so it's not like a full auto, I guess, or spammy shotgun, if you will. It is on the wall, which is good, and it was one-shotting on round 23 if you hit the zombies in the head, which actually surprised me. I thought this thing wasn't going to do that, but it actually was one-shotting in the head on round 23, which is amazing. I feel like people don't give this thing enough credit. But next, we have the HS-10. Obviously, if this was the unpacked version, it would be like F tier, bottom of the list. I would never want to use it, but when you pack it, it becomes very, very cool and kind of useful, I guess. It becomes dual-wield. I don't know if you've ever seen a dual-wield shotgun besides this thing in zombies. It is such a unique weapon. It is actually decently strong. I'll give it that. It was very, very strong when I was using it. It was kind of surprising me. I would say it is kind of a good weapon to pack a punch if you want to. Obviously, there is much better choices, but this is not as bad as people think it is. Now, the best shotgun in this game, I feel like, is the Spaz 12. Now, the only reason I'm saying that is because I believe it might have the most ammo out of all the shotguns, and it's full auto. So you could literally hold down the trigger and it will just keep shooting until its ammo clip runs out. And the best part is when you're reloading, it reloads all 24 shells at one time. It's not like 8 at a time or 1 at a time or whatever. All 24 instantly, which is great. Now, depending how you play, you could honestly rank any of these in any order, I guess, but they all kind of go here. They're all kind of mid as fuck, I'm not gonna lie. But ranking them based off of how useful they are compared to each other, this is the list I chose. And that's pretty much it for these shotguns. So I kind of struggled where to put the Python because it's strong, but you never really use it. I feel like it's a little bit more useful than the shotguns because the shotguns run out of ammo really quick. And the Python, you're able to spam it, but you're able to control your ammo. So I'm going to put it here. It's just a Python. I mean, it's strong as a pistol. That's kind of it. It's decent, I guess. So just like the shotguns, I'm ranking 3 weapons together, and these are all wall weapons. This is the MP40, the MP5, and the MPL. They're all very similar in their usefulness. And the bottom, I have the MP40. This is just not as useful. It shoots slower. You never really want to pack it because it's just not a weapon you want to pack. Like, you use it for points. You don't use it to pack it. But when you do pack it, it kind of becomes okay. I guess it's not the best thing ever, but it's all right. Next, we have the MP5. Kind of the same thing with the MP40, but it's just placed more conveniently on most of the maps. You'll run into this thing before the MP40, and when you pack it, it becomes pretty decent. I think it's a bit better than MP40. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of the same thing. It's all right. You mainly use it for points, not really to pack it. Now we have the MPL. This is the most useful. It might not be the strongest out of these 3. I think it might be the weakest. Maybe that goes to the MP40, I'm not sure. But this is always conveniently placed in the perfect locations. It's always so useful in early rounds to get points. You don't usually want to pack it, but if you do, it's all right, I guess. You want to keep it unpacked to get a lot of points. It's meant for point grinding and all that. But that's really it for these 3. They're all point weapons. Technically, you could say the ones before this are stronger, but they're not more useful. I did say in the criteria, how useful are the weapons as well. well as their damage and ammo. So next I have the dual CZ75. If you're wondering about the single CZ75, I'll get to that in a second. But the dual CZ75, when you pack it, it becomes really good actually. Not like outstanding or anything, but I say it's above like the 3 weapons previously listed because it's strong, has a lot of ammo, so you're actually able to control the ammo. Their pistols, they become full auto, and they're just great. But you might be wondering, why is the single pistol better than these? Well, it's kind of a bias a little bit, because if you're playing on Plutonium, BO1, and you're playing on the normal maps, I think besides like Moon, this will crash your game when you get out of the box. I literally was trying to get gameplay of this twice on Kino. Both times I got it, it crashed my game. So it goes here. And then after that, we have the single CZ75. Just like the dual wield, it has a lot of ammo for it being a pistol. It's full auto, it's strong, and that's kind of it. If you disagree with these, I kind of understand, because it's hard to rank BO1 weapons, man. None of them are really that good, to be honest. Alright, so next we have the FAMAS. This is a very disappointing weapon in this game. It's so good, but also so bad. You want it to be a good weapon because it feels nice, it looks nice. It's just all around a good weapon, if you're not including the damage, that is. The damage is horrendous. When you're using this on later rounds, it'll get you nothing but points. It's like an SMG, but I feel like this is one of the worst ARs in this game, if not the worst AR. I know the M14, I think, is technically counted as an AR. That's more of like a marksman rifle type of thing, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the lowest AR on this list other than the M14, I think. It's not good. Get it out of the box, runs out of ammo too quick, and that's kind of it. You just use it for points. The next we have the G11. It's pretty similar to the FAMAS. It doesn't really have good damage. You get it out of the box. It's like a FAMAS with a scope. That's pretty much what I would consider it as. But the only reason I have the G11 above the FAMAS is because the G11 has more ammo. That's kind of it for these two. They're low damage, kind of low ammo, point weapons. It's pretty much it for the FAMAS and the G11, to be honest. Moving on to the top 10, we have the AK-74U. This, in my opinion, is the best SMG in Black Ops 1 Zombies. It's on the wall, has, I think, the most damage out of all the SMGs. It'll bring you through the teens, early 20s, maybe not all the way up to 30s, but it is used for like high rounding on Kino. I don't know if it's used for high rounding on other maps, but it's so good for like those insta-kill rounds super high up, but it's also just good for early game. Has good headshot multiplier, can always buy ammo, all around a great SMG to have. At number 9, we have the M16. I'm not sure if it should go this high, but it actually felt pretty strong when I was using it in the game. And it's always like conveniently placed in the locations you're going to spend most of your time. Like on Kino, it's on a stage. On like Shangri-La, it's near the area where you're going to go for high rounds on. It's always just in a good spot. Has that little launcher on it, noob tube launcher, I guess we'll say. It is kind of strong, but it's not going to be used for like a later game. But there's still many more ARs that are better than this thing. So next we have the AUG. This overall is a very, very solid choice. Not the best AR, not even the second best. I think it might be the third best AR in this game from my list, I believe. And it's all around just a solid weapon. There's nothing really wrong with it. It has a fast reload speed, good damage. It'll bring you pretty high up in the rounds. And not only is it strong, it has a very unique attachment on it. It has that underbarrel shotgun. And this underbarrel shotgun is honestly pretty strong. It's not like outstanding. It's not gonna, one shot to really far in the round. But if you run out of ammo, you can use it. It's like an extra gun, I guess you'll say. It has a good amount of ammo too when you actually pack a punch it with that underbarrel shotgun. I'm surprised how much ammo that actually has. Now we have the second best AR in this game, which is the Galil. It doesn't necessarily have the highest amount of damage, but it has a lot of ammo. I think it has like 525 bullets, I believe, when you pack, which is a lot of ammo in BO1 standard. Most weapons don't even get to 400. Let alone 500. So most of them get to like 300, 200, somewhere around that area. Most of the weapons. And since it has so much ammo, you're able to use it later in the rounds. It's so useful. Early rounds, gets you points, kills zombies. It's overall just amazing. Now we have the Dragunov. Might be wondering, why is sniper this high? Well, it's because this thing is so strong. This, I believe, has the highest DPS out of most of the weapons in this game, because when you're going on Call of the Dead and you're trying to kill George, this is the best weapon to do that. It has the highest DPS to kill George with, which I'm assuming that also goes to zombies as well. Has the highest DPS out of any weapon. I might be wrong about that, but this is overall just amazing. It'll one-shot for a very long time. I don't know when. Maybe it'll one-shot all the way until the 30. It has good ammo. It's overall just amazing. The only problem with this thing is that it is a sniper, so you have to aim in. You don't always have to aim in, but if you want to be accurate, you have to. And that's all I have for the Dragunov. Alright, now it's time for the top 5. In our 5th place spot, I have the RPK. Now, thinking about this, I don't know if I should put it here because it doesn't necessarily have a good amount amount of damage. What makes it so good is that it is an LMG. And obviously, most weapons in this game don't have a whole lot of ammo. And this has a lot. And I think it has 625 bullets. It shoots really, really fast. So it makes up for its low damage with its fast fire rate. Has a high DPS, and its reload speed is honestly pretty quick when you have speed cold. And that's kind of it for the RPK. It's just an LMG, shoots fast, low damage, and that's kind of it. Now after that, I have the HK21. This is kind of like the opposite of the RPK. It shoots slower, but it has higher damage. I would say this is better than the RPK because it has 900 bullets, the most out of any weapon in Black Ops 1. I believe it is one of the highest ammo counts out of any weapon in any Call of Duty Zombies game, which is kind of insane. And it's on Black Ops 1, a game that is not really known for its high ammo, more like its low ammo. Now, the only problem with these two LMGs, the RPK and the HK21, is that on most maps, there's not really a good camping spot. Other than maybe like the Derice remake, I might be forgetting about something, but I don't really see most maps having a good camping spot. So that's kind of where these struggle, is you have to camp with them. But other than that, they are amazing. All right, number 3, this goes to the Commando. This is an amazing, amazing weapon. It may not have the ammo count of the HK21, but I believe it is better because it has a higher headshot multiplier. It'll be doing way more damage in the HK21 in a shorter amount of time, and by the time you kill all those zombies, you'll probably have killed the same amount with the HK21. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but when you pack-a-punch it, it also gets fast mags, and it has a very, very cool name as a pack-a-punch weapon, which is the Predator, which sounds intimidating. Don't get any weird ideas in the comments, because I know the Predator sounds like something else. I know, but I'm not thinking of it as that kind of Predator. Now we have Mustang and Sally. Is there really any doubt that this thing is number 2? Could be even number 1. If you don't know what number 1 is yet, you'll understand why this is not number 1. But you take the starting pistol, you pack-a-punch it, and it's literally just like a grenade launcher. Grenade launcher pistols. That's the best way to explain. They're very high damage. They can carry you to the 30s. Maybe the 40s. I highly doubt the 50s, but it'll carry you to the 30s pretty easily if you have the max ammo. If you have PhD with this thing as well, and you're trapped in a corner like below round 30, you are making it out of that corner. It is really useful. It has okay ammo, but the damage is up there, man. It's not like a, infinite damage wonder weapon, but it is up there. It is really, really good. But there is still one more weapon on this list that is better than this thing, and it can be argued that the 1911 is better than it, depending on the circumstances. Alright, here we are, number 1. This goes to the crossbow. If you don't know why this is number 1, it's because of its effect. When you shoot this thing when it's pack-a-punch, it is like a monkey bomb. All the zombies will go straight to that arrow. The only downside of this thing is that not always will the zombies go straight to that arrow. It can be a little buggy sometimes where they completely ignore that and they just go straight for you. But if that doesn't happen, you're making it out of any situation with no problem at all. If you're in a corner around 200, you can make it out of that corner anyway. It doesn't have, good damage or anything. It doesn't have a lot of ammo, but you're not really going to be getting trapped a whole lot. So the ammo isn't really the issue here. But the usefulness is so high up on the charts that it's literally like the best. It can sometimes even be better than some infinite damage wonder weapons because some of them you might die with them if you're in a corner. But this, you will not die if you know how to use it right and if it actually works correctly. Alright, that has been the list. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. And if you disagree with anything, I understand. Some of these weapons might not be in the right spots. And if you really disagree, let me know what I'm wrong about and roast me. Go for it, man. I am prepared for all the criticism and I want to hear it. Just kidding. I don't. I'm insecure. Not really. I don't. But yeah, I put a lot of effort into this video, so if you can leave a like, I had to get gameplay for all 30 of these weapons. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. If you want to see a different ranking, I might do BO2's weapons next. If you have a good idea, I will screenshot it and put it in a folder that I have for good comment ideas. And once I get around to doing it, I will do it. So yeah, without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, boys.